Welcome back to another classic Game Room interview. Today with Aaron Weber, the Associate Brand Manager for YAKUZA Dead Souls from Sega. How are you today?
Doing great, thank you.
Well, thanks for talking with Classic Game Room, and this sounds like a really uplifting game. Is it about saving ponies and maybe planting flowers, or is it maybe more exciting than that?
Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with saving ponies and flowers, and rainbows are nice too sometimes.
They
but
are.
Every now and then, you get the feeling like you need to go kill some zombies, and maybe kill some zombies in ways you haven't killed zombies before a video game. And then maybe explore Tokyo, and, get a little bit of that all together. And that's kind of what YAKUZA Dead Souls is really all about. It's the best of the original YAKUZA formula mixed in with zombies everywhere.
Wow, that sounds like an amazing win-win formula.
It's kind of a nice combo, yeah.
So you get to mangle zombies while running around Tokyo, hopefully using a sword? Are there guns and things that light zombies on fire?
Of course we have flamethrowers, yep. And some of the zombies actually have Molotov cocktails. You can get grenades yourself. We've kind of meshed that brawler gameplay that the Yakuza series had, and then added this new sort of gunplay formula to it. So it's an interesting hybrid of the old fighting style Yakuza you remember, mixed with the new, very gun-based and upgradable and expanded gunplay element to it.
Is it more of a storyline, or is this like a zombie survival game, as many of us have been accustomed to just fending off waves of zombies?
Right. No, there's definitely a story to it. I'd say look at it sort of like the past Yakuza games where you've got this one main storyline you can go through. And that storyline maybe is like 30 or 40 hours of storyline. But then if you actually want to clear the entire game, if you want to get all the subquests and all the extra items, you're looking at about 200 hours of gameplay, as with any Yakuza title. So it's a lot of gameplay. You get a lot of bang for your buck there.
Well, I've always had a good time with those, and I found them to just be like a refined kind of action bruiser game, and very stylish as well. What can you tell me about the storyline in this game and how it might differ from some of the previous Yakuza entries?
So if you play the second Yakuza game, I'm going to do some spoilers here. Not a major spoiler, but the main antagonist of Yakuza 2, thought to be dead at the very end, right? Big bad guy dies. That's kind of like cliche for most games. However, he's returned in this game, so the question is, how did this guy come back? What's going on, and why does his arm transform into a Gatling gun? Kind of different. Kazuma Kiryu, the main series protagonist, gets wrapped up and he comes back in. Yeah, you'll see it. We'll show you some of the footage. His arm just completely transforms.
I'm trying to transform my hand into a gun. If I could do that, I would be in so much trouble right now.
Yeah, it is surprisingly handy for the zombie apocalypse, so hey, what do you know? But we've also got the main characters from the previous Yakuza games coming back too. So Shun Akiyama, the moneylender, he's back. And then you've also got Kiryu. You've got, for the first time playable in the Yakuza series, Goro Majima. He's like that crazy guy with the eye patch. Fans love him, and you can play as him for the first time here. So you've got that main storyline, you've got all the 4 characters, and it's kind of our formula for success there.
Okay, and what game consoles is this coming out on?
So as with all Yakuza games, this is exclusive to the PlayStation 3. So you got to have a PS3 to play this one, but just like the previous Yakuza games too.
Now, there may be some viewers who are wondering why it's not coming out on Xbox 360 and PC, but I'm not one of them. My immediate question is, why is this not coming out for the Sega Genesis? I mean, you're with Sega. You obviously know somebody there.
This is true. I grew up a huge fan of Sega, and I'm happy to work at the company. So I think the problem just is not that we couldn't fit it on the cart. I mean, it was totally possible, but the blast processing, when combined with Yakuza, was actually too enjoyable. People had heart attacks playing the game on the Genesis, so we had to completely port it.
Oh, well, that's easy. You could have just put it on Sega CD, and that probably would have introduced
toned it down a little bit, right?
Introduced enough glitches to smooth that out a little bit. You could have gone 32X, and then only 4 people on Earth would have been able to play it. Me being one of them.
I think it's rumor has it's gone up to 5, but that has yet to be confirmed.
You need all the different cables and power adapters.
So you gotta stack it all on there, right? Get the full tower going on.
Who is this game for? What's the audience?
I'd say this game is for anybody that likes zombies, anybody that likes Japanese culture, anybody that's a fan of just good Sega games in general or Sega games and loves to see those references to other Sega games. You'll see some stuff to a lot of other characters and franchises from Sega games in YAKUZA Dead Souls. Sort of like you did in Shenmue, the way that you could go to different stores and get the little toys and stuff like that. It's very, very similar. Fans have seen it in Yakuza. We've done it again.
I was just going to ask you if there's a playable Space Harrier or Super Hang-On anywhere in this game.
Close, but not quite. Instead of bringing back older games and letting you play those, we actually have a brand new game. It's called Boxelios, and it's an arcade-style game that's been built just for Yakuza. And you've seen it in the previous Yakuza games, and we brought it back in this one. So once you liberate Club Sega from the zombie apocalypse, you can go play some Boxelios and see how you rank online.
Is this the kind of game where you can just run around and explore the environment in Tokyo? And are there other environments? Is it an open world game, or are you pretty much confined to a set path?
It's a little bit of both. So when the game first starts out, the apocalypse, sort of the infestation, is only taking over a certain part of town. And so the government's trying to quarantine that, right? So there's only a small section that's sort of survival horror. Now, as the game progresses, it starts to get more and more out of control. And so the playable areas where there are zombies coming at you also grow. And there's this theme of destruction going on. So as the zombies infest and take over more, the city itself changes and gets destroyed, and now a sign that maybe you saw on the wall is fallen into the street, and you can run up the sign and get on the roofs of the building. So everything becomes interactable, and it's sort of a nice way to say you've played in the city, you know, how many times before in 4 different games in the past, but now let's give you a new way to experience it, a new way to run at it, besides just having zombies chasing you.
How would you compare Yakuza Dead Souls to two other excellent zombie games I can think of, Dead Rising and Red Dead Redemption?
Red Dead. Those are 2 good examples, I guess, to compare to. Yakuza, I think the first thing it's got different from the rest is that it focuses more on a Tokyo setting, a Tokyo environment, which hasn't really been done to a huge extent in many of the Yakuza, or many of the zombie games.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, it does focus on the more unique and interesting ways to kill zombies. I know Dead Rising kind of goes into that. Yakuza's also got its own sort of flavor of unique ways to kill zombies. Beer kegs, as one example, which is a pretty satisfying way to take them down with. So
can't go wrong with that.
Right, you can't. So, and then beyond that, comparing it a little bit more to Red Dead. In Red Dead, you know, it's kind of a side thing meets a fairly big, you know, piece of DLC there. But Yakuza's kind of completely focused on it for this certain example, but it's also sort of similar in the sense that it's a what if. Sort of like you've got this super realistic Tokyo setting in the past 4 Yakuza games. You've got actual Yakuza or Japanese stores that are in this game, and then it's just kind of saying, so what if we took our super realistic game and we added some zombies to it? What would happen there? So that's probably, I think, the biggest things that make it a little different, and likewise similar in some ways, but also better, I think, than some of the competitors out there.